Okay, hello everyone. Happy International Education Week and welcome to our last session on this series of webinars on women in STEM fields. My name is Yandy Reynoso and I am advisor for Education USA in Mexico City, and I will be conducting this session. Today we have three special guests and we will be hearing their success stories in the STEM fields. Just a couple of reminders. If you're watching us from Zoom, please keep your microphones and cameras off. If you have any questions, please send those to the user Q&A and we will review them at the end of the presentation. Also, if you're watching us from Facebook, thanks for joining us as well. You can also type the questions in the chat and then we will review them at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Some of you might be familiar with our network of Education USA. If not, I just want to briefly talk about Education USA and what we do. Next slide. Thank you. We are a US Department of State network that promotes US higher education to students around the world by offering accurate, comprehensive, and current information about the different opportunities to study in the United States. So whether you plan to pursue a short-term or a full degree program in the United States, Education USA has the resources you need in your 5 steps to US studies. So if you want to learn more about us, make sure to contact your closest Education USA Advising Center. Next slide, please. Before I introduce our panelists, sorry, go back, Mabel. Before I introduce our panelists, let's do a quick poll. We want to know where you're watching us from. So let's do that really quick. Now you should be able to see the poll. We want to know where you're watching us from, as I said. So most of you might be in Mexico, but our region also includes other countries as well. If you are on Facebook, please type in the chat, where are you from, where are you watching us from? So thanks everyone for participating. I see most of you are in Mexico. We have a few other from also North America, Central America, and there are a couple people from the Caribbean. So thank you everyone for being here. Perfect. Okay, so now I want to introduce our 3 panelists for this evening. So first we have with us Karen Cortés. She's currently studying a master's degree in chemistry at UT Dallas. She was part of the UT Dallas Mexico Summer Research Program 2018 and joined the Smile Down Lab in 2019, currently being supported by a CONACYT scholarship. She is an environmental enthusiast and hopes to direct her research to develop environmentally friendly materials for 3D printing. Thanks for joining us today, Karen. Next, we have Bárbara Gómez, Regional Director at FIRST since 2005, developing the full spectrum of programs in Mexico. Bárbara has dedicated her time to promoting educational opportunities for children ages 6 to 18, specifically in STEM. She has been a member of the STEM Promotion Committee of the U.S. Embassy in Mexico, as well as part of the Committee for the Promotion and Inclusion of Girls and Women, and has participated in different initiatives within Mosaic. Welcome, Bárbara. And now we have also Teresa Tamayo. She is currently a PhD student. If we can change slides, thanks. She's currently a PhD student at Harvard University, studying physical chemistry and computer science. At Harvard, she has worked on methods of electronic structure to predict material reactions with high accuracy with the help of automatic differentiation. Teresa is also involved in intersecting projects in electronics, theoretical chemistry, computer science, machine learning, and physics. She has also been recognized for her contribution in the academic field in the state of Jalisco. Thanks for being here, Teresa. So thank you, Karen, Bárbara, and Teresa for being here to share about your success stories. So now let's get started with our panel. Okay, so first of all, I would like to ask you, why is it important to increase women participation in STEP programs? Let's start to hear from Karen first.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this amazing event. It is really an honor to be able to share this panel with such amazing and inspiring women. And I am eternally grateful with the opportunity for all of their support when I was preparing to come to do my graduate studies. They helped me a lot, and I really recommend you check them out. So yeah, for this first question, I would say there are a lot of reasons why it is important for women to be involved in STEM programs. As we heard in the first panel of this series, the job market in the future most likely will rely on STEM fields. So in order for us to bridge the gap between the payment, depending on the gender, we first have to close the gap in the gender gap in science. So I think that's one of the reasons why it is very important. Additionally, any work team or research lab or whatever can benefit from diversity. So I think having different people from different genders or backgrounds, nationalities, can really help make a very rich environment. And finally, I would say that for us to keep breaking stereotypes, right? It is very important that we continue to show people that we can do it and women are just as capable as anyone else. So yeah, those are the reasons why I think it's very important.
Great, thank you, Karen. Now let's hear from Bárbara.
I think that Karen pretty much summed it up very well. And well, again, thank you so much for the invitation. This is just fabulous to be able to be here with these amazing ladies and share some of our experiences with your community. So again, thank you. First of all, we think that women should be part, we bring such a different perspective to any field. It doesn't matter if we're talking about STEM or if we're talking about social sciences, whatever. Women have a very different way of grasping and analyzing. So again, this is from the diversity perspective. It just enriches any area and any field of study when you have such diverse backgrounds, such diverse ways of looking at things. So that's the first thing. And together with that, we really have to do our very best at opening up all these other opportunities for more and more women. We can't allow for the world to just to keep on having these stereotypes and these glass ceilings that are there, and sometimes they're not really there. We as women have the obligation to help other women achieve their potential, achieve different goals. And for humanity, it's in everybody's interest to bring more girls and women into, in this case, STEM fields, but overall in all fields.
Thank you. And now let's hear from Teresa.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, and also it's a pleasure to know a little bit about the ideas and the background of these amazing ladies. Where most of the points have already been touched, and more specifically the economic impact that an academic or an STEM career has in a family. And I would like to focus on the humanities side point of view. Just imagine in the story of humanity, half of the population has not had the same opportunities as the other half, all the missed opportunities of talent and all that potential that could be improved in order to increase the diverse pool of ideas that you could have. Also, as Bárbara mentioned, including a diverse pool of ideas and people can accelerate and enrich and, of course, improve even more the humanity. more than already has the science and technology. So, and also, I don't know, everybody deserves a fair opportunity of personal development. And in this case, women.
Great, thank you so much. I think it is really interesting that both of you, I mean, the three of you say and answer similar this question, so thank you. And now let's move on to the next question, please. If we can switch slides. What misconceptions women have about STEM? In your own experience, what have you seen? If we can start with Bárbara now.
Hi, wow, this is, I think, I'll say one of the easiest and at the same time of the hardest. Overall, up to at least my generation, because bear in mind, I'm about 40 years older than all of you. So at least up to my generation, for us, we were sort of taught that STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, was too hard for women, that we couldn't handle it. And then at the same time, we were going through this revolution of women have to become independent and women have to become strong and so on. But we did grow up with that stigma about all these areas, or for men, they're not really for women, you know, that's a man's world, that's too tough and so on. Unfortunately, what I've seen is that even though it was more predominant perhaps up to my generation, you know, back from in the 60s, I still see that it happens in these generations. Even though the words may be out, we may be saying things, we're not as a society really doing what we could and should do to empower women and to make women feel more confident that we can do anything that we set our minds to. So I think that in general, you know, the most challenging thing that we have is to have women get rid of those stereotypes that there are certain activities just for men.
Great answer. Thank you, Bárbara. Let's hear now from Teresa.
Well, my answer is quite similar to Bárbara. So everything relies on stereotypical traits. Since, well, I don't know, everything is based on the idea that the STEM field is only for men. And also there are some misbeliefs about the set of tools that I don't know, hopefully in the last couple of decades has been thrown away. But I would like to focus on the expected outcomes on a life that women and men have. They don't have exactly the same in general as a society. So the kind of life work balance that women have is quite different than men. And it is impregnated in men and as women as well. So sometimes men and women are not evaluated in the same way, and even their work is not perceived in the same way in academic fields and also in the workplace. So at some point, I believe that in STEM fields, it's in fact a good place to get rid of them, since in STEM it's quite exact. So the maths are the way to actually evaluate that it's super accurate. So the math, it's true or false, the engine works or not. So I guess this in an STEM field, it's a good way to, and it's a good area of opportunity to get rid of this set of misconceptions and stereotypical traits.
Thank you, Teresa. And now let's hear from Karen.
Yes, so I guess I have very similar answers or thoughts as Teresa and Bárbara shared. I guess one of the biggest misconceptions, as Bárbara was saying, is that men are usually better at these fields. Sometimes we think that just, well, not we, like people think that men, just for being men, they are born with like something special that makes them better in mathematics and stuff like that. But in reality, reason for this, well, it sometimes might be true, but not because they're men. It's because from early ages, they are more encouraged to pursue STEM, and they are given toys like robots or trucks or things like that, while girls are given like household related stuff, right? So that's the reprogramming that society does in children is what causes men to be more sometimes successful in STEM fields, not just because they're men. And another exception I would say is that if you want to have a family, you can't like dedicate your life to STEM, right? That you have to sacrifice one or the other. And I think if you really want to have a family and also pursue a career in STEM, you can definitely do both. We have a lot of role models here in the department at UT Dallas. There are a lot of women that are head of research labs that have families and are perfectly capable of balancing both, family life and work life. And I have some peers that started the program being like pregnant, and now they have their children, and they're incredibly hardworking and inspiring. So yeah, definitely you don't have to choose one or the other. You can definitely do both.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think over the years we've seen more and more women involved in studying in the STEM fields, but I think all of what you said, it doesn't only apply to the STEM fields. It also applies to other areas of study. Thank you. If we can move on to the next slide, please. And next question, what are the challenges women face in STEM fields? Let's hear now from Teresa first.
Well, I guess in general, it's all the pipeline of education since elementary school through grad school or undergraduate studies, or even like in the career. So it needs to be a thread or a web of mentorship through all the stages, and not only, and also it should be since the beginning, the people from, I don't know, like children from elementary school should be exposed to role models in all the different stages in their education. And also I believe that included like mentorship in all the stages, it could bring a safe space to talk and understand which is the area that you are more interested in, and also it could give you more confidence throughout the process. And also it could foster sisterhood, and also it could foster the idea that in general, in order to succeed in an STEM field, you need hard work, and all these set of skills can be acquired. So they are not set by society or inherent since you were born.
Great, thank you. And now let's hear from Karen.
Yeah, I agree with everything Teresa said. Also, I would say something that really resonates with me is the fact that sometimes gender can add on to feelings of imposter syndrome. I don't know if anyone is familiar with this or has experienced this, but this is a great big thing. I don't know if, I really recommend this book by Natalie Young, The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women, and it talks exactly about the imposter syndrome. And sometimes if you think of more situational factors, like the fact that we are studying in another country, or that we speak another language, or that we are maybe from Mexico representing the Latino community or whatever, all of these factors might add for you to your feelings of like an imposter, and like you are not good enough, and if like you add gender to that, sometimes you might feel like if I fail, I'm failing the whole like women community, right? So it definitely can feel challenging, especially because when it is like demonstrated by different experiments. I really recommend you to read that book, that when men fail at anything, they are more likely to attribute that to something other than that he's a man. But when women fail, they are most likely to attribute it to her being a woman, right? So yeah, I think that's one of
Thank you so much, Karen, and Teresa for sharing those. I know especially you two are currently studying in the US, so I can imagine, yeah, the challenges that add to that. Let's hear from Bárbara now.
I think Karen and Teresa have summed it up wonderfully. I think I basically see that while we are in very different stages of life, my perspective looking back 40 years, I think that that's really the age difference between you and I. It's 39 years, so 40 years. I think that when you look back, you figure out that the challenge is inside us. It's about us as women breaking those stereotypes that even though we may say we don't have them, we do have them. We do have that psychological, cultural baggage that we have to get rid of and stand up to it and say, we can do anything. I can do anything when I put my mind to it. So I think that the greatest challenge that any girl or woman has in STEM or in any other field is with yourself and believing in yourself, empowering yourself and women and girls around you. I think those are the greatest challenges. As with anything else in life, just believe in yourself, work hard. And I have a beautiful friend who was the president of General Motors in Mexico and then of General Motors in Brazil. And she's an engineer by training. And she has this wonderful saying, and she says, for us women, we have to, first of all, we have to band together. We have to be the sisterhood always help any woman that you can, always do that. But just remember that you have to work like a dog, but act like a lady. So I leave you with that.
Thank you, Bárbara. That's true. I've heard that before. Thank you. Before we move on, we want to launch another poll really quick. So let's do it in Zoom. And also remember, if you are watching on Facebook, you can just type your answer in the comment section. So we want to know, what is the area of study of your interest? And while we wait for the results, I just want to share a few statistics that were released this week in the Open Doors report for IIE. So 52% of international students pursue majors in STEM fields during 2019 and 2020. And also the top 8 fields of study in the US for international students are engineering, math and computer science, business and management, and social sciences. And also in 4th place, we have also physical and life sciences, fine and applied arts, health professions, and also communications and journalism. So here, thanks for voting. I see that the most common one is science. And then after that, we have engineering, technology, and other. It's there also was a common question, common answer, sorry. And then in the last place, we have math. So thank you everyone for voting. Okay, so let's move on then with our next question for our panelists. If we can switch slides. Thank you. Okay, so the question is, what opportunities do you know are there for women in the STEM fields? Let's start with Teresa, please.
So, well, it depends on exactly in which stage on your career you are. When you're in high school, for instance, I was part of chemistry Olympiads, but in general, there are several ones like physics or in math. Also, I was part on the National Youth Science Camp a few years ago. That is in fact organized by the Department of the State of US in Mexico. So it's a quite unique opportunity, since it was in fact my first the first time that I was in contact with scientists that they were like, from NASA or of international lab, so that you can actually see them, that they were like a actual like person, not really like they were that far away. Another opportunity that you could have is during the my undergrad. Also, I was part of the Delphine and also some summer internships in industry, and also in some specific cases. You could do also, thanks to, or I don't know, one of the advantages of now that everything is online, there are several opportunities online. For instance, if you want to learn a little bit more about quantum computing, and this is just an example, there are some initiatives like the Quantum Open Source Foundation, where you can they have a mentorship program when you can do online one assigned project, and in this case also you get in contact with scientists in the industry or even in academia. And also there are several research summer programs like UCSD, and it usually opens around this time of the year. So it mostly depends on which area you are interested in.
Great, thank you, Teresa. Now let's hear from Bárbara.
Well, I think, again, like Teresa said, you have to, it depends on what area you're looking into, but there, I would definitely turn to Education USA for information for a number of things. It depends, of course, what area and what age group you're talking about. We're basically assuming here about people who are talking university level and graduate school. However, I want to think that maybe we have some younger people that may be watching, and you know, there's a lot of opportunities. There are many fabulous science camps. Most of the US universities offer amazing summer camps, both in STEM fields as well as to get ready for your application process and so on. But many times you can tie them into these STEM camps. I know, for example, in robotics, which is my main field where we're involved in technology, there's these guys that do the ID Tech Camp, and they're in Harvard, Yale. Most of the universities in the US do summer camps with these guys, and they offer things in computer science and programming and robotics, and that's for junior and senior high school kids. And again, for graduate and university level, I would go into contact first of all, what area you want to go to, what universities may be of your interest, and see what's available there. The National Science Foundation has a lot of opportunities. NASA has a lot of internships, and there are some internships in NASA that are available to Mexican students, because not all internships for NASA are open for Mexican students, but the ones that are amazing. I don't know, I'm talking about oceanography, for example, the Woods Hole. We had about 16 or 17 of our kids who decided to go into oceanography, climate change, into those levels, those fields of study. And they went into the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute to do an internship. And it was just an amazing experience. So again, it depends what area you want to, but go to Education USA, visit the university's websites that you're interested in. There are just so many opportunities, and if we can help at all, please feel free to reach out, especially in robotics. That's where I may be able to help you a little bit more.
Great, thank you, Bárbara. And now let's hear from Karen.
Yeah, I mean, after what they've said, that it's very true. I don't know what else I could say. I know I would like to say that almost every opportunity that we see out there in STEM fields can also apply for women, and that's becoming more of a reality each day. However, if we ever experience a situation of discrimination or whatever, there are a lot of associations that you can reach out to. Earlier in the panels, they shared also these initiatives and social movements like Side Girls shared by Alicia Santiago to help like get girls from early ages involved in STEM fields, Meteorito, all of these amazing programs. Also, there are a lot of global networks where in those web pages you can find either job offers or just you know, people that you can reach out to, and role models like FabFems that they mentioned before, the Association of Women in Science. There are a lot of also like, for example, if you want to pursue your studies in the US, it's Jóvenes de Excelencia Banamex is a very good program that helps you prepare to make your studies, and they are very open in the fact that they want to increase participation of women. Also, of course, Opportunity USA, there's this also the program, I guess right now it's not being active, but this summer research program from Mexico with the US Embassy in Mexico that sends students here to UT Dallas, and they also have this goal to increase the participation of women in STEM. I was part of this program and it's amazing. I hope they continue doing it. But yeah, basically there are a lot of resources. As Bárbara said, you can reach out to your Opportunity and they amazing resources.
I would just like to add one quick thing. Karen and Teresa both mentioned it. Look up the associations that are in your fields of interest and join them. If you can't join them because there's a cost or whatever, at least sign up for their bulletins and in the email blasts. Those are amazing points of contact, and many opportunities come from that. So look into all the international associations of the fields of your interests.
Thank you, the three of you, for mentioning these great opportunities. If you weren't able to participate in yesterday's session, well, the session was recorded and you will receive also the link and watch it. But yesterday we had a few grantees that were actually participants from some of these programs that you mentioned. So you can also reach out to them if you want to learn more. We will also be sharing more information about those opportunities where you can find more information online. And also, as Bárbara and Karen said, make sure to contact your closest Education USA Advising Center, and they will be able to let you know about the different opportunities that are there for you, even if you're looking for a short-term program, a summer program, or even if it's a full degree in the US. So moving on with our next question. In your opinion or experience, what attracts women to STEM programs? And let's hear from Bárbara, since you have your microphone open.
Wonderful. I think it's just like with anybody, you know, man or woman, you are attracted to what really moves your, I'll say your heart, definitely. Your interest is spiked with certain areas of knowledge, and ever since you're young, you have a certain inclination for one kind of field or another, or maybe you had the opportunity of going to a science camp or having an amazing teacher that sparked that, that interest in STEM programs, or in this case, any other field, very particularly STEM. For example, I'm absolutely thrilled and ecstatic about STEM, but in my generation, unfortunately, I fell for the misconception that STEM was too hard for me, so I only studied economics. But really, where I wound up doing my work is in STEM. So as Karen said, or Yandi, I don't remember who, I may go back to school and do a degree in engineering, because that's what really gets my heart. But I think that what attracts women to STEM, I think it's the same as any other field. It's just what you like, what spiked your interest, what makes the la ardilla aquí arriba, the squirrel up there, run around and get motivated, no? But yeah, I don't think there's anything different with maybe with women. We also like, sometimes we're challenged, by people who say you can't do that, and sometimes it helps us to reaffirm that we're interested in one area or another, and hopefully in STEM.
Great, thank you, Bárbara. Now let's hear from Teresa.
I kind of agree with Barbara. So yes, as any other human being, so you follow what your heart of hearts wants. And or in the case of esteem, it's like if like trying to build and learn in the whole process new set of skills. So beyond actually the technical part, also to be thrilled about solving technical problems. As I don't know, I guess that's all other. It's relatively it's other human beings, not only women, and also working in solving interdisciplinary problems is quite challenging and appealing. So in general, I guess it's you need to do what you are really interested in and in order to do it well, and also a lot of hard work.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. And now, Karen, in your experience, what attracted you to study an STEM program in the US?
Yeah, so in my experience, of course, the thing is that science is in, right? Science, in particular chemistry, that is what I have experience with. Chemistry is so amazing. It can be so much fun. You discover new things every day. It can be, of course, very challenging, and sometimes it can let you down, but it's so amazing that I couldn't see me doing anything else. The ability to work with your hands, and really, if you're passionate about something, for example, in my case with the environment, being able to do what I love and thinking that I can make a change or like in the world, it's very inspiring. Sometimes I think women are attracted to STEM fields, as Barbara said, because they just want to prove everyone that they can do it. And while that should, of course, not be the only reason why we're doing it, we have to be very passionate about what we're doing, but it's definitely a very good starting point, because in the process of trying to prove everyone else something, you might end up proving yourself that you are very capable to do like whatever you want to do. Additionally, I would say that from my experience with my colleagues, I have seen that they are attracted to pursuing a career in STEM because of the fact that sometimes, at least in research labs, with what I have experience on, I don't have experience in the industry, but at least in research labs, it's more common that they are more focused on results rather than on schedule. So sometimes that gives them the ability, especially for single moms, for example, it gives them the flexibility to be able to go and pick their children from school and then come back to the lab and do some work. So yeah, that's what some colleagues have shared with me about why they want to continue to pursue a career in STEM.
Great, thank you so much everyone for your great answers. And before we move on to our last question, I want to just remind everyone, if you have additional questions for our panelists, make sure to type them in the chat box. Also, if you are on Facebook, you can just type them in the comment section, and then we will be reviewing those at the end of the presentation. So if we can switch to the next slide. How will you inspire, sorry, go back, thanks. How will you inspire women to participate in STEM? Let's hear first from Karen, please.
Yeah, so I know we're about to listen to very exciting and inspiring things from our other panelists, but I would just say leading by example is something we can do. As I mentioned before, this can feel like extra pressure because you might think like, all the girls are watching me, and if I do it something wrong and if I don't succeed, I'm failing them. But it is also very important to share the struggles and let them know that it is possible. Although it might seem very hard at some points, we can definitely do it. I would say, as Teresa mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities to get involved from early ages, like the Olympics in different sciences. I was part of Chemistry Olympics, and this brings a lot of very great and amazing experiences, the best experiences that I've had in my life. So I would say yeah, being involved in those opportunities, and yeah, leading by example.
Great. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing your own experience. Let's hear now from Teresa. She will also share a little bit more about the organization she has been involved with, Clubes de Ciencia. Next slide, please. Thank you.
And also, thanks for the opportunity to talk about Clubes de Ciencia. In general, Clubes de Ciencia is a non-profit organization, and the model is a week, usually during the summer, in several cities around Mexico. So in this week, students from high school and freshman students are able to interact closely with graduate students and researchers from US and Mexico, and solve a specific problem, a state-of-the-art problem. For instance, you can learn how to program, you can learn a little bit of electronics, you can do lab experiments, but also you are super close to scientists. So in that case, you can actually learn about what are their passions, what are they do day to day in the day, each day in the lab, and also what are they do in their free time. So it's a quite fun experience, and also it's a good way to learn people around your age that are actually interested in the same topics as you. So we have several cases of success. So some of them are already in grad school in US. Also, some of them have evolved again in the organization, so they are able to share even more experience. Also, during the week, we have some talks, and in fact, Education USA has been part of it several times. And also, we have some extra activity during the week. Unfortunately, due to the current events, it has been suspended for a little bit of time. But also, we had programs in the online work. So this year, we had some Clubes de Ciencia, Stay Home Edition, also some Clubes de Ciencia, the challenge. So, and also we have right now running Minimox, which is online version of these courses. So please, if you're interested in that, please visit some of our social media and also the webpage.
Great. Thank you so much, Teresa, for sharing about this great organization. And yeah, as she said, I just invite you again, if you want to learn more, I think we are leaving the direct links in our chat box and also on Facebook, so you can go check them out. And if you have any other questions, make sure to contact them at the email provided on screen. Perfect. So now let's hear from Bárbara in first. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Karen, it was amazing to hear your personal experience on how you got excited and everything, and it's exciting, even more exciting to hear that we're on the right track as to what is motivating young women like yourself to get into these fascinating fields. And Teresa, I think that your Clubes de Ciencia is just an amazing program, and it's one of the key things that we have to do is get out there and get more kids involved, more kids excited with STEM, and of course do a very focused, laser-focused effort on getting more girls and women involved with STEM. First is a nonprofit. We are headquartered in Manchester, New Hampshire. We've been around for 30 years. We are a nonprofit operated, just our mission and vision is to get more children and young people involved in STEM fields. The world needs more scientists. We need more engineers. We really have so many challenges in this world. And we are sure that if we set up the right incentives and celebrate STEM professionals and the amazing things they are doing for humanity, that we will have a wonderful impact in these kids. So I think, Teresa, what you're doing and what we're doing is so very much goes hand in hand. Definitely, let's sit down and chat and see what we can do. For first, our name stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. We have developed programs for children ages 4 years through 18 years of age, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is to get these kids involved, and hopefully they will wind up studying a career in STEM. Or if they don't study a career in STEM, at least it's not because they are not because they're afraid, but it's because they have other interests, which is fabulous. You know, we need all sorts of experts in many fields. That's what humanity needs. But we want to get as many kids involved with STEM. Our numbers. This is going to sound a little bit snobbish, but you know, our numbers are rather impressive. FIRST impacts more than 1.2 million children a year in 189 countries. We have a long-standing relationship with some of the foremost companies in the world, Boeing, Dow, the NASA, you know, CIA, Rolls-Royce, I mean, just about SpaceX is one of our amazing allies, of course. So we have, I don't remember the exact number, but about 3,000 sponsors and strategic partners that come together with us and celebrate different challenges. So what we do is we bring out a challenge every year for the different categories that we have for the different programs with different age groups. And we send them out to the kids. It's all online. And what we do is, this is a challenge that society is, you know, that we must solve right now. So one year we did nanotechnology, another year we did the challenges people with handicaps have, and different kinds of things. Right now we're talking about our challenges are around space, precisely, and, you know, colonization and so on. But we bring these challenges in together with experts in the field to help us get the kids excited, and they have to design, build, and program a robot in each one of their categories to solve these challenges. This sounds really out there and in space. I would invite you to go into that link that we have in YouTube, which shows you how our events go. So kids get together, they work for 6 to 8 weeks, and then they get together before COVID. We would get together in these very high energy, exciting competitions, robotics competitions, but we are about much more than just robots. We are about, yes, the robot is the hardware that kids produce, but for us, there is nothing more important. The most important thing is to have children and young people who are committed to their community. So our most prestigious award is, of course, for the team, always talking about team, that does a wonderful job as far as the engineering and the math and so on of the robot, but of the team that comes together and does something positive for their community. So it's not just about the robot, it's way much more than that. Our teams have access to more than $80 million of scholarships awarded by many of the biggest universities in the US, of course. Canada, in Mexico, of course, we have Tec de Monterrey, ITAM, Universidad Panamericana, Tec Milenio. A number of universities offer scholarships for our kids that graduate from our programs. But we really invite you after COVID to come to our events. The kids develop amazing life skills. It's not just the robot, I insist. They learn how to do social responsibility, community impact, teamwork, develop all those soft skills, leadership, communication. It's critical thinking, creative thinking. It's a whole number of things. So we definitely would like to invite you guys to see our videos, get a little bit more of a feeling for what we do. And hopefully after COVID, you will come and see one of our events. This year, we're doing everything, of course, online with COVID. It will be exciting, and it is a challenge. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks everyone for being able to share a little bit more about your organizations. As I said, at the end of this series, we will be sharing with you again their contact information and also their website, so you can get involved and start also participating in these great opportunities. So before we finish, let's go to our Q&A session. I know we have been receiving some great questions for our panelists. So let's hear from Mabel some of the questions.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, we have a lot of questions. So hopefully we will have enough time to go through all of them. The first one is, do you need a special training in English in order to be able to get an opportunity like the ones you mentioned before? We have really good students and teachers in the STEM fields, but some lack of knowledge of English. Nevertheless, several of them reach a good level of English at the end of the major. So probably this question I would like to, maybe Teresa can help me answer this question.
So yes, the question is, yes, you do need to have to speak fluently and read fluently English. So or for entering into grad school, you do need that. But also, if you want to study in grad school in Mexico, you actually need that too, since basically all the information and the state of the art of science is written in English. So, and also if you want to publish your research, is actually written in English. Or if you want to communicate your research with in English, where you are going to get a broader audience. So, and actually just make sure that you have on time a way to certificate those skills.
Yeah, great. And related to that question, maybe Karen, you can tell us a little bit more about how did you improve your English to get all these opportunities or to study abroad?
Yeah, so I've been studying English, I guess, like since elementary school. So yeah, I definitely have been in touch with it for a while. However, I know, yeah, definitely you need a good level of English, but it might not be as high as you might think. You continuously improving. I thought I knew English when I came here, but reading papers or doing presentations in English was kind of horrible, but you start getting better while you are like studying. So it's not like if you don't know English now, you can definitely learn it and just reach a point that where you feel comfortable, that so that you can get your certifications, which are not very demanding. And then you will learn as you go. Like definitely the more you know, the easier it's gonna be for you, or the less challenging it's gonna be for you to do presentations or read or write or whatever. But don't feel like you have to reach like the best level before you come. You can learn along the way.
Thank you, Karen. And you can also visit our WordPress of Education USA. We have several resources that you can check out to improve your English if you're looking to do so.
I'm sorry, Mabel, may I add another thing? So,
yes, of course.
Just very quickly, also, for example, I mentioned before Jóvenes de Excelencia Banamex. That is a program that like opportunity, but like only directed to masters and not for the United States alone, but for Europe and other countries. But they offer, along with preparation for application to the graduate programs, they offer English courses. So a lot of the programs that will help you prepare to do your studies abroad also prepare you in English. So yeah, that's an important thing to keep in mind.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are receiving a lot of questions. Bárbara, we have also one for you. What are some robotics tech camps that high school students will apply to?
Oh, okay. So I wonder, do they mean here in Mexico or in the US?
here in Mexico, I guess.
So, feel free to send me an email. You have my contact information, bgomez@firstinspires.org. And I'll be more than glad to send out a list of, some of the workshops and some of the companies that we know that do robotics workshops. I would encourage people to reach out, in this case, to the FIRST Robotics community. Many of our FIRST Robotics competitions teams do robotics workshops for free. And we have any Tech de Monterrey and any Tech Milenio that you see in any part of the country has FIRST. And most of these teams, as part of their social responsibility outreach programs, offer these robotics workshops for free. So that would be maybe one part. And of course, there are a number of companies that do robotics workshops and they may charge a fee. I don't know how much, but if you send me an email, I'll be more than glad to tell you. I think that there are many wonderful events. One thing that Teresa and Karen mentioned is the importance of being part of competitions, of international prestigious competitions. I think is very important because this gives children or people a goal in mind, and you work with a very specific goal and within a very specific time frame. Sometimes just taking classes and more classes and more classes doesn't have the results or the impact that you think. But when you are going to participate in a competition, it changes the whole dynamic, and many other things come into play that make it a very enriching experience. Of course, I recommend FIRST robotics competitions, FIRST Tech Challenge competitions. RoboCup competitions are amazing, and those take place also in many countries. So if you send me an email, I'll be more than glad to share with you a list of robotics camps that we know of and of the premier robotics competitions that we know of. Bear in mind, there are hundreds of robotics competitions, but we'll be glad to get you on the right side. And also go into the NASA website. The NASA website has a huge amount of information, and they have the robotics curriculum clearinghouse. And so they have free curriculum there, and they also list all the main robotics competitions that NASA sponsors and supports.
Thank you, Bárbara, for that great information. I have also a very kind request from La Maestra Adriana. She said, "Hi Teresa, can you please dedicate some words in Spanish for my students of Prepa 16 at the University of Guadalajara? We want that they get motivated to be someday like you."
Gracias por la pregunta. No sé, en general creo que todas las personas deben encontrar qué es lo que les apasiona y trabajar fuerte para conseguirlo. En mi caso, cuando estaba en la prepa, realmente estaba como muy indecisa de, bueno, ¿qué voy a estudiar? Química o física o matemáticas, y llega un punto donde aprendes y conoces a suficientes personas para decir, bueno, se puede hacer una mezcla de todo. Creo que lo que necesitan hacer es como experimentar diferentes áreas y encontrar cuál es la que les gusta, y les pueden gustar 2 o 3 y hacer una mezcla de ellas. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Teresa. I also have a very interested question. It says, "It has been a real pleasure to hear all the experience and advices from wonderful women. Thanks for all the encouragement through this talk. My question is, when studying in the US, what were the main challenges you faced when studying STEM fields as opposed to when you were in Mexico?" And I think maybe Karen, you can help me out with this question.
Yeah, I would say one of the main things is that back in Mexico, you might be competing with all of your nationals, but when you are in the US, you are competing with people from all around the world. So that can feel very intimidating. You might feel very little, but yeah, I would say that's one of the biggest challenges. You feel like maybe in Mexico, I felt like, oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing great things. And then I come here and I see all these people, amazing people with such like diverse and amazing backgrounds, and it can be like very intimidating. But I would say that's one of the biggest challenges I've faced so far.
Good. Teresa, I'm not sure if you want to share other challenges or differences that you have seen between studying in Mexico and in the US.
So in general, I guess the classes or the dynamics in the classes is quite different. In general, we're used to being in, in a room with, almost 40 people, and you interact directly with the professor. So in US, it is expected that you reach out directly the professor once you have questions. So it's the environment's a little bit different. So everybody's a little bit more, it is expected that you actually reach the professor with questions. And also something that I found quite useful is the implementation of office hours for some specific classes, which is a specific hour where you can reach directly the professor or the teacher assistants for specific questions. So yes, in general, when I found the biggest difference is like you need to reach, it is expected that you directly reach the professor with questions.
Yeah, that is very interested, and hopefully this will help students to be prepared when they decide to study in the US, hopefully. We have also another question. What do you recommend to increase our self-confidence to apply to STEM? And also, what is the most important learning about your studies abroad? I'm not sure who wants to help me with this question. Maybe Karen?
I had a little bit of network issues. Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. What is the most important learning about your studies?
Yeah, so that's a tough one. I mean, there are a lot of learnings. Every day you're learning a lot, but one thing is that it is okay to reach for help, whether it is like academically or like, psychologically or whatever. People are very willing to help, and sometimes we might have a lot of misconceptions of being a Mexican in the US, and we might feel like everyone hates us, or I don't know, but in reality, people are, so far what I've experienced, people are very willing to help you, to help you like move forward. There are a lot of people that you can like network with, and like you can reach out to succeed. And yeah, I would say that might be one of the biggest learnings.
Okay, thank you. And the question that I asked before, maybe Bárbara can help us with that. What do you recommend to increase self-confidence to apply for a STEM program?
Again, I think that it's all in us, in believing in yourself, but always remember that you are, you definitely deserve the same opportunities everybody else has. Don't feel that because you're a Mexican, as Karen and Teresa mentioned, don't think that because you're a woman or because you're Mexican or both, that you don't deserve to be supported. On the contrary, believe that just because you're a human being and because you're a woman, you're amazing, and you should go forth. This is what you want. Go forth and do what you want. Believe in yourself. My best advice is believe in yourself. And if you're not feeling too confident, reach out to other women. again, become a part of a club or an association of the field of your interests, and reach out to all those women organizations that are all over the place. There are women in STEM organizations. There's a Hispanic, I believe it's called Women's, what is it? Hispanic Association of Women in Science or engineers, something like WISE. It's women, Hispanic women in science and engineering, something like that. Just reach out to all those associations and become an active member of any and all associations with women and in STEM. It's the best way to get your confidence up, to learn, because it's all about learning and remembering that it's all in you. You deserve everything. So just believe in yourself.
Thank you, Bárbara. We have a very kind of specific question. It says, could you talk about the differences between a scientific career versus an engineering career? I think I want to do engineering, but I still want to know more about science, just to be sure. Thank you. And I'm not sure who wants to help me with this question. Tere, I think you were muted if you are saying something.
That's a kind of tough question. So, because in general, it's quite complicated to in fact draw the line, because well, I'm not an engineer, but in general, if you're an engineer, you actually need science, so it's quite complicated to decide where to draw the line. So again, the idea of this could be, if I will need to give an advice, it's like talk with as many people as you can about what you're interested in, and I don't know, you can read for engineering, in general, there is not an actual line among them. You can do even both.
Okay. Hopefully that answer will help. We are still receiving a lot of questions. Adriana asked, why did Karen choose to study in the United States?
Hi, Karen. Why? I think at first, when I was starting to plan to go to do pursue my studies abroad, I was looking at Europe. When I was with Jóvenes de Excelencia Banamex, all of my planning went through Europe. But then I found the amazing organization Education USA, and that was like particularly directed to the US. Additionally, I participated in the research program from the US Embassy in Mexico, and I came here to UT Dallas for a summer research program. So I fell in love with what we were doing in the lab, and I really liked the environment and everything. So I decided. Additionally, I'm in Texas, so it's very close to Mexico, and it was very important for me to be able to go back, I don't know, in the holidays or something like that, more easily to go with my family, and so yeah, those are the reasons. Additionally, I know the US has like the best facilities. I don't know, I don't have any other experience in other countries, but in the US we have the top of the line instruments, and it's amazing. So yeah, all of those were factors that made me decide to come to the US.
Thank you, Karen. There's also one question. Hello, I'm Claudia Corsino from YM University. What I need to study out of my country? I mean, if I need to have a lot of professional titles, do you think that professional titles will help you study in the US? I'm not sure, maybe Teresa can help us again.
Very good. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. What do I need to study out of my country? I mean, if I need to have a lot of professional titles.
Well, it mostly depends of what is your goal. For instance, if you want to do science or become a professor, you don't need a PhD. So if it is the case, just find the lab that you are interested in and reach out. And I don't know, it's mostly depends on what are your professional goals.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm gonna start reading the last questions. Bárbara, Wendy Novello is asking, at UT Chetumal, students are working with VEX and now robotics equipment. Is it the same type of robotics that you were talking about? Is it only for kids? You're muted, Bárbara.
There we go. Okay, so the VEX platform, I think, is an amazing product line. They are one of the premier robotics manufacturers in the world. They used to be one of the robotics platforms that we used in FIRST as hardware, and VEX has been Innovation First, which is their parent company, has been a long time strategic partner and supporter of FIRST, pretty much since FIRST was founded. VEX started their own robotics competition, I'll say about 15 years ago, and they do a wonderful job now. They offer this wonderful product line for ages kindergarten all the way up to graduate school. So they are an amazing products line, and they do a very similar competition format as we do in FIRST, because they are a strategic partner of FIRST. So VEX is amazing, definitely. I think they're just they're one of the competitions that we basically recommend, of course. And as far as robotics competitions, I'll be more than glad to send out the league. There are the link to the different robotics competitions that there are worldwide. The last time I saw our updated list, we had about 89 or 90 vetted competitions, which may be of interest. It just depends, first of all, your budget, if you want to do it nationally or internationally, and what grade level you're talking about, if you're talking for little kids or if you're talking for older kids. With the VEX platform now, they have competitions available for kids from kindergarten on up again to graduate school. So they're amazing. They are based in Texas, as a matter of fact. So right around the corner from you guys.
Thank you very much. Karen, they are asking a lot for the name of the book that you mentioned. So I'm not sure if you can type them on the chat to everyone.
Of course, I'll repeat it. It's The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women by Natalie Young. I really, really recommend it. It's an amazing book.
Thank you. And some final questions. I think we probably can be here a lot of time, but some final question. It's one more question for each of you. For Teresa, what advice could you give us to get at one university like Harvard?
Well, I'm going to narrow a little bit the answer. If you want to become a scientist and do like pursue a PhD, you do need some previous experience on research. So if it is your case, I recommend that you try to join a lab in your local university. In my specific case, I joined some labs, and first just to see if I like the day-to-day work. but also try to have results. So one thing that it will help you a lot is to have a actual article or publication, or a way to display that you have some experience on research. So explore different labs in your university, or actually you can do some summer with Delfín or with the Academia Mexicana de Ciencias to see if you can work in a lab and have that publication or proof that you have experience in research.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next question, I think you have mentioned a lot of this, but I don't want to miss this question, because it says we have seen more women students joining the engineer majors in our Universidades Tecnológicas system, such as mechatronics and IT. Some final thoughts, Bárbara, maybe how can we motivate or help them at that level to get these opportunities?
Again, I think we need to expose more girls and women to competitions. I am a very firm believer that competitions, prestigious, well-run, nonprofit competitions are very important, because you have the right incentives in line, and it will help people do the right things for the right reasons, not just do something for a money prize or things like that. But when you have good competitions that are run, with the right ethos, you will get people motivated, really inspired, really motivated, really into these kinds of programs. So get them in touch with other women engineers, other women scientists. I think, for example, Universidad Tecmilenio, I'm a member of the board at Tecmilenio, and they were just letting us know that they have started this amazing mentoring program. So they have now mentorías for their professional students. I think that's great, because you get this one-on-one contact, and with people who are passionate about what they're doing, and in touch with the students. So I think that's a program that we should promote in other institutions. So get girls and women involved with other women who are already in those fields. Get them involved in competitions. That it's a very healthy thing to get people involved in competitions, and for women even more so, because it will dispel any kind of insecurity you have, and it will show you how much you could do everything that you want when you set your heart on it. So that would be my two little pieces of advice on getting women more involved in those areas. And again, remember that money is not an issue, in the sense that if you really want to study in one of these fields, you have much better odds than men in getting a scholarship or some sort of funding. There are very specific programs to get more girls and women into STEM.
Yeah, that's true. And if you want to know some of them, you can watch our recording from yesterday. We talk about a lot of scholarships opportunities for women in STEM. And last question, Karen, from 1 to 10, how difficult was to get there where you are right now?
20.
20.
Definitely hasn't been an easy path, but I wouldn't change it for anything. And all of the learnings that I've had through the years are invaluable, and it's definitely possible. If I look back when I started, I don't know, in in junior high, when I started participating in the chemistry Olympics, I never thought that I would be studying in the US, but just dream big. I mean, may your choices reflect your dreams and not your fears, right? So, yeah.
Well, that has been all the questions. Thank you very, very much for your time. We kind of exceed the time scheduled for this session, but I think it was very valuable.
Thank you, Mabel, for the questions and everything. So I just want to thank everyone again for participating. If we can move to the next slide really quick. And again, thank you, Bárbara, Karen, and Teresa for being able to be here with us today and for being able to share your own experiences about how you succeeded in the STEM fields. And also, I want to thank everyone who was able to participate in our 3 sessions since last Tuesday. I think that's where we started. Thank you, everyone. We will make sure to contact you to let you know about the recordings where you can watch them again if you miss any of the sessions, and also where you can find our panelist information and also about their different organizations that they currently working. If you want to learn more about our services, you can contact us as through our website or through email or through our social media platforms. And also you can visit our blog. That is a link that you see on the bottom of the screen. There you can find a lot of resources that will help you get started and find out about what you need to do in order to study in the US. As I said at the beginning, we have 26 advising centers in Mexico, and in this website, you will be able to find their contact information. And I suggest you contact your closest advising center. So thank you, everyone. And with this webinar, we conclude our series of Women in STEM Fields, celebrating International Education Week. Thanks everyone for participating and your questions, and thanks everyone who was able to watch us also through Facebook. And that's it. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.